I understand. That's what we're talking about here. Well, so yes, I mean, do we yet know? I mean, I think we know the outlines of how a virus gets into a cell or chooses a cell, but I mean, that's not a trivial issue either, right? I mean, these viruses are quite small. I imagine they just get blown around by just being in an organism that's at 37 degrees centigrade, which is pretty warm, or 98.6 Fahrenheit. You know, there's a lot of movement going on, right? And these things are extremely small. They must get tossed and turned everywhere, right?
I mean, that's one of the reasons.
How do they latch on?
That's one of the reasons why viruses. The strategy is to make billions and billions of progeny, and maybe only a few will succeed in getting to the next host. So this air is full of suspended viruses right now. Most of them will not do anything, and some people will inhale them in this room, and they won't do anything as well because of the immune system. It all is a random chance event. And that's why
the numbers are so high.
The numbers are so high, they enforce it. But then again, you have to find the right host. And so presumably in this room, there are mostly viruses that infect humans. That's because we're all sitting here and exhaling and so forth. But if you...
Try and stop that.
If you... No, don't stop breathing, Stuart. If you walked into a forest, you would be surrounded by the viruses indigenous to all the animals that live there. And most of them wouldn't infect you. You're not the right host. So they would enter you and be destroyed. So there's a lot of chance in virology because of the numbers and the chance events. It's very different from our lives, of course. And that's why when we have an outbreak, this is probably a 1 in a million chance of something happening, and then it takes off.
So you spent a lot of time studying polio virus.
I have, right.
Which I guess some people might say, gee, isn't that over? I mean, didn't we do that? Didn't we do... Well, you're holding one, for example.
Yeah, I am.
But so why? I mean, what's the interest in polio virus now that we've sort of pretty close to conquered it?
So polio has a number of very interesting features. We're almost there. We haven't conquered it. I would say another 10 years or so, it'll be gone, and I will get rid of my polio viruses. Not my models, of course. We already have to destroy one of the types of polio we have because it's been eradicated. But polio is a wonderful model for studying how a virus gets into the nervous system. So you're a person of the nervous system.
Yes.
You're very interested in it. The nervous system is well defended against viral invaders. There are very few that can get in. But once they do, they wreak havoc because the immune response is not very good. And so for polio, it was one of the first neurotropic, that means a virus that can get into and replicate in the CNS. That was one of the first neurotropic viruses discovered. And so we started studying it to understand how it does that. And we have some hints today. But the key here is, we didn't need that information to make a vaccine and eradicate the virus from the globe. But what it does is tell us in general about how viruses get into the CNS. And so, for example, last year,
CNS, central nervous system. Thank you.
Last year, a virus related to polio called enterovirus 68 emerged in the United States and caused a fraction of paralytic disease. It's a respiratory infection. So we immediately jumped on this virus because we have all the tools and expertise to study if it, in fact, can infect the nervous system. And as you know, Zika has also been implicated at infecting nervous tissue, so we're ready to study it. We have all the tools and approaches to do that. So that's why studying a virus like polio is so valuable.
Even beyond its simple development of a vaccine or eradication.
Absolutely. It's a model system. We have lots of information and tools to study, and we apply what we know to other viruses.
Well, rabies virus, I guess, was the case. I mean, it was one of the earliest viruses identified, and it's a nervous system virus, really, isn't it?
It is, but polio was discovered first.
Oh, was that right?
It was, before rabies, yes. Isolating the virus itself. The effects of rabies, of course, were known to Pasteur, but he didn't know it was a virus. And it wasn't until many years later that the virus was identified.
As a virus. Should we talk a little bit about Zika virus, since it's a current event at the moment? And it's got this curious and unexpected, I guess?
Totally unexpected. This is a virus which, as far as we could tell, was a benign